It was one of those moments that looks ordinary from the outside but changes everything forever. A quiet bus stop. A tired woman holding a child's hand. And a stranger in an expensive coat who stopped, looked again, and made a choice that would rewrite all their lives. What happens next isn't about money or power. It's about kindness, raw, unexpected kindness, and how one simple sentence can become the beginning of hope when someone is at their lowest. Before we begin, if you enjoy emotional, real-life inspired stories that remind us how powerful kindness can be, please subscribe to our channel, Kindness Story Hub. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us spread more stories like this. The bus stop sat on the corner of Maple and 3rd Street, just outside downtown Chicago. It was early winter. The sky was gray, the wind sharp, and the air smelled faintly of exhaust and cold concrete. People stood in silence, wrapped in coats, staring at their phones or the road ahead. Among them was a woman named Emily Carter, 32 years old, standing slightly apart from the others. She held a small backpack over one shoulder and kept her other arm wrapped protectively around her 6-year-old son, Noah. His jacket was too thin for the weather, and Emily kept pulling him closer, trying to shield him from the wind. Emily hadn't planned to be there that morning. In fact, her life had unraveled piece by piece over the last year. Her husband had died suddenly in a construction accident, leaving her alone with a child, unpaid bills, and a grief she barely had time to feel. Medical expenses swallowed their savings. Then came the eviction notice. That morning, Emily was on her way to a job interview across town. She'd borrowed bus fare from a neighbor and prayed she wouldn't be late. Noah's school had called earlier to say his shoes were falling apart again, and she didn't know how she'd replace them. She felt invisible, like the world was rushing past her without noticing she was drowning. Across the street, a black luxury SUV slowed to a stop at a red light. Inside sat Daniel Wright, a 51-year-old tech CEO worth hundreds of millions. He was known in business magazines as sharp, disciplined, and intimidating. His schedule was packed with board meetings and investor calls, and his driver knew better than to interrupt him. But that morning, Daniel wasn't looking at his phone. His eyes had drifted toward the bus stop. At first, he noticed the child. Noah's shoes had holes near the toes, and his socks peeked through. Then he noticed the way Emily leaned down, whispering something to her son, forcing a smile even though her eyes looked exhausted. Daniel felt something tighten in his chest that he didn't know why that scene hit him so hard. Maybe it reminded him of his own childhood, when his mother had raised him alone after his father walked out. He remembered cold mornings, long waits for buses, and the quiet fear of not knowing if things would ever get better. Without fully thinking it through, Daniel said, "Pull over." The driver hesitated. "Sir, we're already running, please," Daniel said quietly. "Just for a moment." The SUV parked near the curb. Daniel stepped out, the cold biting through his coat. People at the bus stop glanced at him, confused. A man like that didn't belong there. Emily noticed him approaching and immediately felt her guard rise. She pulled Noah closer. "Excuse me," Daniel said gently. "I don't mean to bother you." Emily nodded cautiously. "Yes?" "I couldn't help noticing you and your son," he said. Are you okay?" That question, so simple, nearly broke her. She swallowed hard. "We're fine," she said quickly, the automatic answer of someone who couldn't afford to fall apart in public. Daniel looked at her for a long moment. Then he glanced at Noah. "What's your name, buddy?" "Noah," the boy said softly. Daniel smiled. "Nice to meet you, Noah. I'm Daniel." Then he looked back at Emily and said the words that would change everything, "You're coming with me." Emily froze. Her heart raced. "I'm sorry?" "I know how this sounds," Daniel said calmly. "And you don't have to decide right now. But I'd like to help. You look like you're carrying more than anyone should carry alone." People were staring now. Emily felt embarrassed, suspicious, and strangely hopeful all at once. "I have a job interview," she said. "I can't miss it." Daniel nodded. "Where?" She told him. "That's on my way," he said. "Let me give you a ride." Emily hesitated. Every warning bell in her head rang at once. But something in Daniel's voice, steady, respectful, not demanding, made her pause. She looked down at Noah, who squeezed her hand. "It's cold, Mom." She took a breath and nodded. "Okay. Just to the interview." The inside of the SUV was warm and quiet. Noah stared out the window in awe. Emily sat stiffly, unsure what to say. Daniel didn't push. After a few minutes, he asked, "What kind of job?" "Receptionist," Emily said. "It doesn't pay much, but it has health insurance." "That matters," Daniel replied. They arrived early. As Emily stepped out, Daniel handed her a business card. "No matter what happens in there," he said, "call me." She nodded, unsure if she ever would. The interview didn't go well. The company had already filled the position. Emily walked out fighting tears, Noah trailing behind her. She stood on the sidewalk, unsure where to go next. Then her phone rang. "Unknown number." "Emily," Daniel said. "I'm nearby. Can I come back?" She didn't trust her voice, so she just said yes. This time, Daniel didn't just offer a ride. He listened. He listened as Emily told him about her husband, the eviction, the fear of losing Noah's stability. She cried, quietly at first, then openly. Daniel didn't interrupt. By the time the car stopped again, they were outside a small cafe. "Let's eat," he said. "All of us." Over soup and sandwiches, something shifted. Emily felt human again. Over the next weeks, Daniel kept his word. He helped Emily find a stable apartment. He arranged new shoes and coats for Noah, nothing flashy, just warm and sturdy. He connected Emily with a job opening at one of his company's partner offices, where her reliability quickly stood out. But the biggest gift wasn't financial. It was dignity. Daniel never treated Emily like a charity case. He treated her like a person whose life mattered. Months later, Emily stood at another bus stop, this time by choice, on her way home from work. Noah laughed beside her, backpack full, shoes intact. She thought about that cold morning and the man who stopped. Kindness didn't fix everything overnight, but it gave her something she hadn't had in a long time. A beginning. Daniel, for his part, never forgot that moment either. He later said it reminded him that success means nothing if you don't see people, because sometimes, the smallest act, stopping, noticing, and saying "come with me," can change a life. And maybe, if we all paused a little more, looked a little closer, and chose kindness when it's easiest to walk away, the world would feel a lot warmer. So as you go about your day, remember this story. You never know who's waiting at a bus stop, hoping someone sees them. Be that someone, spread kindness.